Hello everyone and happy Wednesday. I know this isn't the normal view of my kitchen. You're getting a different view because we are making a delicious one-pot dinner and we're having pasta fagioli, okay? That's what we're having. My kitchen already smells amazing. So wish you had smell vision. Again, if you're Ontario, you know what our weather looks like. If you don't live in Ontario, us Ontarians are gonna crab. We've not seen the sun. I can't even remember the last time we saw the sun, for goodness sake. So, what are we doing? Well, we've got our beautiful cast iron pan. This recipe, start to finish, takes about a half of an hour. Not a hard dinner to make. Great if you want to make some alternatives. You'll notice I'm cutting up some meat. If you are meatless, great. Omit this entire first part of the recipe, which is cook the meat, which normally we would cook pancetta. I forgot to pick it up yesterday when I was out getting my groceries, and because of that I ran to the little local grocery store here. Why would I think they would have pancetta? Silly me. So I am using a thick cut bacon. So if you are meatless, omit the meat completely and that's fine. You would skip to step one. So in the pan right now, I've got some extra virgin olive oil, about 2 tablespoons, and I'm just cutting the thick up pancetta, which should be, or is bacon, I should say, but should be pancetta. Just cutting that up right now, and then just adding it to the pan. So this is a soup slash pasta dish, a delicious hearty dinner. Really good for protein. Again, if you are not a meat eater, then you just omit this completely because you're still having green lentils. We've got some beans, we've got some tomatoes, pasta, carrots, onions. So it's a really good, delicious kind of stick to your bones kind of dinner. And different variations can be done. And I'm looking forward to sharing this one with you guys. I think you're really gonna like it. And pretty basic as far as ingredients go. And again, no meat, no worries, no big deal, okay? So we're gonna cook up the meat. Oh, trying to dry my hands, there we go. Okay, we're gonna cook up the meat, and while the meat is cooking right now, we're going to get the vegetables prepped because we're next gonna add the onion, carrots, and celery. Again, really, really basic. And we're gonna add that once the meat browns up a little bit here. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that get rendered down. It takes about 5 minutes to do that. And we're gonna chop up our stuff. Let me peel it first. So let's peel our carrots, get our celery prepped, and we'll just cut everything all together. Okay, so I'm just gonna peel carrots. We need 2 medium carrots and a celery stalk and 1 onion. And I'm gonna chop all of it in the manual food, no I'm not, in the Rapid Prep mandolin. We've got 2 days left of that sale. And just gonna prep all that right now, okay? Celery, maybe I should have left this here. Cut the tops off. Give that a good rinse. And we can throw everything together. I normally do stalks and all. I don't mind them, so. Okay, got the celery, got our onion. Hope everybody's having a beautiful Wednesday. Oh, hey, Susan, welcome back. Ow, amazing. Welcome back. Well, this is a good recipe. Back to the Grey of Ontario for you. All right, so I've got my onion and carrots are already peeled. And then we'll just chop everything together in the mandolin because we can. And let me just get rid of all of this and get that. There we go. Okay. So check on the bacon. Or the pancetta as if you were able to find yours. So I am going to post this recipe over in the VIPs. This is a really delicious recipe. Okay, mandolin. Last 2 days for the sale here in January. Sticks to the bottom. Kelly, we are making the pasta fagioli. So it starts off with 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in your cast iron. I am using my gorgeous red cast iron because I can. And we all know how much I love it because of the beautiful color red. And the month of February is the month of love. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. There might be some specialty things happening in February with the red. All right, so I'm going to let that render down a little bit more. I am going to put this on the julienne cut. And I'm going to put it on a thickness of a 6 to try that. Those of you who have never been here before or have never seen me cut with this, it's life-changing because my fingers are not hurt in the making of the slicing and the dicing. Okay? I'm going to throw some celery in here as well. Might as well get that done because I can. It's so stinking easy. How was that, guys? And I want to, now if you find that this is too big and you want to make that smaller, all you have to do is put it through again and you can chop it again. And now your pieces are smaller. So I'm going to cut my onion. And I'm going to chop that right in here as well. Get that diced. How easy is that? This sucker's on for $71 right now. Okay, I'm going to give the bacon a little bit more crispiness, which should be the pancetta. You want it to get crispy along the sides. The vegetables are prepped. We're going to need a can of diced tomatoes. So I'm just using the Aylmer can. This one is the garlic and olive oil. If you have plain, if you don't have a seasoned one, don't. The recipe actually just simply calls for a can of tomatoes. It calls for a can of white kidney beans or chickpea, one of each can. So I actually just did that. So white kidney beans and a can of chickpeas, and I just rinsed them. Okay, so they're in the strainer ready to go. We've got some shredded Parmesan. I already shredded that up. That's for the ending. We have 6 cups of stock. We've got a couple cloves of garlic that we're going to squeeze. We have some rinsed green lentils. If you don't have green lentils, that's okay. You can use a brown lentil, and if you don't have brown lentil or green and you only have red, that's fine as well. And then we're going to add some bay leaves and some rosemary as well. We need some white wine. So I've got to grab some white wine, totally forgot. Okay, we've got some white wine here. Sorry about that. I had it all but my white wine. Okay, so the bacon is rendered down at a pretty good fraction right now. And I am going to now add, and I want to change the camera so you guys can see this. So we've got a medium onion, 2 medium carrots, and we've got the celery. And then we're gonna add the vegetables right now so the pancetta has cooked down. We're gonna add the onions, celery, carrots, and then we're gonna increase the heat. And then just allowing the onions to cook down. As we normally do in a recipe, we wanna make sure the onions are translucent. So this is just the celery, the carrots, the onions, all in one shot. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And now I'm just gonna stir that all together. And we're just gonna let that cook down. Now I'm gonna bring the camera over so you guys can see this. Again, one pot dinner. So great. There we go. And let me move this. There. So you guys can see a little bit what is happening here. The onions and the carrots are going along. And we're just gonna give that a good stir. We're going to give that maybe about 5 minutes. And then we're going to add the garlic. And we're going to make sure that the garlic does not burn. We want to make sure that it too gets rendered into the meat here. You can see there at the bottom of the pan we've got a little bit of some of the juices there going on, which once we add the liquid to that, that's going to give it a goodness that all of it is going to incorporate together. All right, we're going to stir that up. Clean up my workstation here a little bit. All right. So everything else is prepped and ready to go. This is a pretty simple recipe. If you've just stopped in, welcome. We are making pasta fagioli. It is made with pancetta. If you are vegetarian or pescatarian and you don't eat meat, that's okay. You do not need to add the meat to this. You can easily just omit it completely. No big deal. And so it's simple in the fact that once you've got your ingredients prepped and ready to go, it is a very slow and easy kind of recipe. Carrots, celery, onion. We got some garlic in here. We're going to add white wine. We're going to add some pasta. We're going to add some beans. So high protein and a great recipe for right now while the winter blues are starting to feel like it's never ending. And the fact that we've had so much gray sky, it's out of control. It's making me a little crazy. All right, so I made a massive mess here. Goodness. Pampered, not perfect. Okay, I am going to take the garlic and I am going to crush the garlic right into the pan. I do not need to peel my garlic. Just need to squeeze that down. Now, this recipe calls for 2 bulbs, but we know how, or not 2 bulbs, 2 cloves. We all know how I measure garlic with my heart. So I'm putting 4 because I like garlic. And we're going to just keep this stirring for a couple minutes. Like, how great is that? Now, the only thing I will say is lately this Ontario garlic, because I'm just on the tail end of my Ontario garlic from the summer, I do find the cloves are quite big and have a hard time fitting in. These are some amazing first world problems to have when our garlic's too big. So I tend to cut it in half just to make sure it fits in. And then we'll give this another couple minutes of stirring. And we'll continue on. So I've got some dough rising right now in the oven. And we'll be able to have a nice hearty dinner that is not a big hard one to cook up. More importantly, a nice delicious one and pretty simple to make. Alright, so we're going to stir in that garlic right now. Keeping an eye on those vegetables. We have it at a pretty high heat. We have it on a medium to high heat right now. And you can see the steam coming off that. Okay, we're gonna crank it down in a second. But we want to make sure that all of this gets rendered together and that the garlic isn't burning, but more importantly, the onions are translucent. Smells absolutely, absolutely incredible. Okay, so we've got that going. Hang on, my computer just shut off. Live TV, gotta love it. Oh my gosh, that is my password. OMG. Sorry guys. Okay, so, we're now gonna add the wine, and we're gonna let that cook down until it's about evaporated. So we just want that delicious. And we want a, you want a wine, not a sweet wine. You want a dry wine. Okay, so I am going to be using one of the ones from our wine club. I am using our electric wine bottle opener. I don't think I talk about this sucker enough. This is the stand that it sits on, but more importantly, on the back of it, you put that around the top of your wine, and it actually cuts the top off. And now you just hold that down, and the electric wine bottle does all of its magic. This actually opens 52 bottles of wine before it needs to be charged. You heard me right. 52 bottles of wine before this sucker needs to be charged. I just go back the other way, and lo and behold, there is the cork. How crazy. I believe I need a half of a cup. Yes, I need a half a cup of white wine. That doesn't include what we might want to have with our soup afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to cook that white wine down. And again, you want a nice dry wine, and it'll help get all of these seasonings together. And you want to cook it for about 3 to 4 minutes, just so that the wine cooks down, but that the flavors are enveloping each other. All right, and I'm going to show you what that's looking like. Smelling incredible. I don't know if you guys can see that. So you can see there how it's just kind of cooking in there, and it's doing all of its thing. Wish I could put that. This stand doesn't quite do what my other stand does. All right, so I'll continue on. I don't think I can. This is still a better. All right, so we're going to continue cooking that down. We do want to keep it stirring so that nothing is burning. Again, super simple, right? Not doing anything wild and crazy here today. And we're just cooking that down to the wine cooks off, so about 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, so give it another couple minutes. After I add the wine, and again, until it's nearly evaporated, then I'm going to add the chicken broth. And again, vegetarian, you use the veggie broth, absolutely. We're going to add some salt and pepper with the broth, and then we're going to add the beans, the lentils, the tomatoes, the bay leaf, and the rosemary. And we're going to leave that on high till it comes to a boil, so for only about 20 minutes. And then we can add a different kind of pasta. But I'm going to show you what all of that looks like in a second. Carrots taste amazing. All right. So I'm going to add some salt and pepper now. Now we don't need a lot. We need, so for the salt, we need maybe 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. This is a thing if you want to omit the salt for now and add it later, you 100% can. But the pepper, you're going to want to add some fresh ground pepper, and it's saying about 1/4 teaspoon. I measured this with my heart as well. So I'm just gonna give that a couple more grinds of the fresh pepper, and then I'm just gonna stir that up. Okay? From here, I'm gonna add the 1/4 cup of green lentils. Now I have already rinsed them, so I'm just adding those to the bowl. I am adding the white beans and the chickpeas. Okay. I am adding a can of tomatoes, obviously undrained. I'm going to give that a stir. Very, very high in protein, this dinner. Very, very flavorful. All different flavors coming together. All right, and now I'm going to add 6 cups of chicken broth. Now again, vegetarian, you're not using pancetta, you're not using the bacon, obviously. And more importantly, you wouldn't be using the chicken broth. You would be just using your veggie broth. So I'm gonna give that a big stir. And I've got it right now on a medium-high heat. I did turn it down a tiny bit, but I'm gonna keep that right now on the medium-high heat. And then I'm going to add the rosemary and the bay leaves. Okay, so it's asking for 2 bay leaves, which I'm just gonna throw in there. And then the rosemary, we're just going to finely chop the rosemary right now, which I've got my food chopper here so that I could show you guys the food chopper. Again, let me clean up my mess a little bit here so we have some space to actually cook. Okay. All right. So much garlic mess here. All right. All right, so let me just do this here. And then we're just gonna chop up some rosemary and we're gonna toss that in there, okay? All right, so I brought my food chopper. We've got some fresh rosemary. And I'm just going to take the rosemary, I'm gonna peel it. Smells delish. Smells so fresh. Okay. There we go. And I'm just going to take the food chopper and I'm just going to chop that. Let me just show you guys here. Just taking that rosemary. Now, if you're not a rosemary fan, that's absolutely fine. This is definitely one of the areas that you can omit if you don't want to. And again, those of you who are allergic to garlic, use the 3 onion instead. Load it up with onion. Even keep some big chunkier onions. And you could even start this recipe with the basil infused oil, and that might give a nice alternative flavor from the garlic. Once you add the bay leaves and the extra onion, you can do all of that. And because we need to add 1 tablespoon of minced fresh rosemary. And again, you're not a huge rosemary fan, don't even worry about that. But look at how great that chopped the rosemary. So we've got fresh rosemary, it smells so good. And I'm gonna sprinkle some of that on into the pot right now. It's saying about a tablespoon. And I'm just gonna throw that in there for now. Woo. Making a mess. And I will stir that up. Now we want this to boil, leaving the bay leaves and all of this deliciousness together for about 20 minutes. And let me just find out what I'm adding, because normally I would add the pasta right now. Yeah, so it says bring to a boil, then reduce the heat. depending on what time of lentils or what kind of lentils. And then we're going to add some of this, which I'm going to show you in 1 second. We're going to let that boil, and I'm going to fast forward this for a second, and we're going to use the blender. Okay, we're going to avoid the bay leaves getting in the way of anything, and we're going to let that come to a boil. So I am going to add the pasta after this other step. So I am going to take about a cup of the vegetable mix or the meat mixture, the soup mixture that we have. We're going to take about a cup of this minus the bay leaves, and we're going to add that into the blender. And we're going to blend that similarly to the way that I did with the potato cheddar soup. And I'm going to add the thickness that it will render, that it will combine itself, and add it back into the soup for a nice thicker soup. So again, this is called pasta fagioli for a reason. It's a thick between the pasta and the beans and the lentils. It's going to be a nice thick kind of dinner versus right now where it looks more like soup. It's kind of a combination between the two. And again, you want all these delicious flavors coming together. For some reason, I cannot see messages. So what are people saying? David's always a couple of real. Yeah, I'm telling you, you're gonna want to make this, Kelly. It's a thicker, not quite a soup. It's almost a combination between a stew and a soup. And I don't know how else to explain it that way, because once you, again, we've got the green lentils in here that are dry, and once they cook on, they're going to get thick. The beans and the chickpeas are going to be thick. And then once you add the pasta, you're also going to get some thickness. And we're going to take a cup of this, we're going to put it into the blender, and I'm going to show you, it again is going to be one more step to make it thick. So to me, it literally is that combination between kind of an Italian stew versus a soup. Yeah, it's incredible. So it is starting to boil. So I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes, and then we're going to take out a cup of that, and we're going to add that to the blender, and I'm going to show you. Very similar to the way that I do my potato cheddar soup, where I don't use cream at all. I take half of the potato mixture once it's cooked down, and I put it into my blender. I literally use a half of it. And I like chunky potatoes in my potato cheddar soup, so I just take my food chopper and I chop the rest of the potatoes just so that they're chunky, but the rest gets blended so it's a nice smooth thick mixture that I add back into it, and therefore I don't have to add cream. And that's the same kind of idea that we're going to do here. So we're going to let that boil down. Now it says 20 minutes to a half an hour depending on what kind of lentils, but because we're on TV, we're going to be doing it ahead of time because I want to show you guys. We're going to avoid the bay leaves. We're going to let them continue in here and do their thing. But I want to show you guys what we're going to do. So we're going to ladle transfer about half of the beans and vegetables and a little of the liquid into the blender. And then we're going to puree it, okay? So I'm going to take some of this. We're going to avoid some of the juices. The lentils in here I can see are starting to get thicker already. There's a bay leaf, all right? So that's about a cup. We're gonna let the rest do their thing here. You can see there that it is definitely soup looking, and you can see that it is starting to boil. It is starting to smell incredible. So I'm just gonna pulse this on my blender. So this is the Pampered Chef blender. I'm going to just pulse it. And you can see here, let me show you. You can see there how thick that is. And we're going to add that back into the mixture here. So this is going to also give it that thickness. Now, if you want it a little thicker, you can go ahead, absolutely, and do half of it if you want. You can also do less of the stock if you would like as well, and make it a little thicker. But an actual pasta fagioli actually starts off with this amount of liquid with the bacon. So it's already starting to get a little bit thicker. Okay, and I'm gonna give this another probably 15 minutes because I want my lentils to get thicker. The lentils are cooking, but they're not quite cooked down yet. So I am going to give my lentils a little bit. I'm then going to add, I have obviously made a mess on my element here. Okay, so I'm going to add, so once the lentils are increased and we've done a cup of our thing, I'm gonna add the pasta and I'm gonna turn the heat down and give it another 8 to 12 minutes. And from there, I then am going to add the cheese to it at the end, okay? So you're not gonna get the whole entire show of this right now because I need to let the lentils cook down. Once the lentils cook down, I am gonna pull out the bay leaves. I'm gonna pull out the bay leaves and I'm gonna add the pasta. I'm going to add, I think it's a cup of pasta. Yes, I'm going to add a cup of pasta. Now they are saying a smaller pasta. So obviously you're not going to add a rigatoni, you're not going to add a penne, you're not going to add any of those. I'm actually going to add into mine the orchetta. I love this pasta. I'll show you, this is my favorite. The President's Choice one on this one is so good. Let me just show you here the size of this. So it's a good little size. Elbow macaroni would work as well. Even an orzo would work well in this as well. And the longer this cooks down, the thicker it's going to get, because again, your lentils are going to get thicker as well. The beans are going to give the thickness, and obviously the pasta is. And again, if you wanted to even make it a little bit thicker, you can add more than a cup to it. And again, if you find it's too thick, then you can always add some more water to that. So I'm going to turn that down for just a little bit. I'm going to give this another probably 10 minutes before I take out the bay leaves and I add the pasta and the cheese. And this dish is delicious. It is so easy. The flavor is incredible. I absolutely love the flavor of this dinner. I mean, Dave absolutely loves it because it has pancetta in it. Today, unfortunately, it has the cut bacon because silly me thought that they would have it next door. So I'm going to add the pasta and I'm going to add the cheese, and then dinner is going to be ready. So if you're not already over on the VIPs, pop on over there. I'm going to post this recipe, and stay tuned for this beautiful red cast iron that's here. And we've got 2 more days left of the Rapid Prep Mandolin sale. It's a fabulous deal right now. If you are interested, let me know. There is a no shipping party happening right now, and I can add that to it. So, pasta fagioli is what's for dinner. It is delicious. It is full of flavor. It is one of those stick to your ribs kind of dinner that I know your family will love. And if you don't have green lentils, use red. If you don't have red, use brown. If you don't have white beans, use chickpeas. All of the things. If you're meatless, omit the meat. All of the things. And obviously, if you're allergic to garlic, you're going to do that out. But if you love garlic like me, add more into that. So, I'm Amy Talbot. I'm your Pampered Chef consultant. Stay tuned because I'm going to show some more of this over on the VIPs. And dinner is done. I am so excited and looking forward to enjoying this delicious dinner. Have a great Wednesday, everyone.